Welcome to Live at the Range.
We're gonna play Name That Firearm.
Yeah, name that board. So we'll turn that around so you can actually see what it is here. Lay that down.
That out of the way.
All right.
Look at that.
So what we got, Ron?
Brand new, just on the market. This is Thompson Center Firearms. Thompson Center Arms. Thompson Center
Thompson
Firearms.
Center Arms. It's from Smith & Wesson, from their Performance Center.
Performance Center.
Yep.
And this is their out-of-the-box 1,000-yard rifle. This one is in 6.5. They make it in 308, 6.5, and 243. We will have one of these on the shelf next week in 308, just like you're seeing here. But I'll tell you what, we've been playing with it. Our Smith rep came in today and had it in his bag. We've all been shooting this at 25 yards, though, is just
it's not even waking up at 25 yards. So
I mean, still you get a nice boom, right? And you don't, and you fail the security check at the airport. But other than that, so anyway, I think a lot of people are familiar with Ruger's Precision line. Mm-hmm. This is the Ruger Precision competitor, and its
price point's actually a little lower.
A little bit lower. But it's a fantastic firearm. 20 MOA rail, completely adjustable cheek weld, and length of pole. Did you try the trigger on that?
I tell you what, there's not a whole lot of triggers that you try out of the box that you're impressed with, but both the action here.
This one is super smooth.
Yeah, and the trigger are both extremely impressive for an out-of-the-box gun.
2.5 to 3.5 pound adjustable trigger. M-lock rail all the way through, so you can put all your accessories. You can put that laser on it.
Fluted barrel.
Another scope. And
nice brake on the end of it.
And it comes with a Caldwell bipod. Yep. So I think it's going to retail around $1,200-1,300 bucks.
MSRP $1,200, but it's a lot of gun for $1,200 bucks. It really is. So
yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, so you can look that up at smithandwesson.com.
Yeah, does not come with the optic.
Optic's extra, obviously. So. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way.
Oh, Chris, put that in my office.
Yeah. Ron, can you give Chris your credit card too, so you can go ahead and take care of that fee now?
All
right.
Nice.
So
nice.
Great way to start an episode. Love it.
Here we are. Are you still a little hungover from last night? I know you stayed up all night watching the results, right?
What happened last night?
The blue wave.
There was a wave?
There was a blue wave.
I didn't know we were having waves.
It was Claire McCaskill getting in her car and waving goodbye. Did I say that out loud?
So I was listening to Mark Cox this morning when I was driving in, and he had his name was Rodney Boyd, and all of a sudden in the background you hear this baby or very young child complaining. You hear a little bit of a cry in the background. Mark Cox was like, "Is that Claire McCaskill in the background?" That was just hilarious. So kudos to everybody that voted. I think they said that this was the biggest midterm turnout since '94. The '94 midterms were, as a nation, were actually a little bit larger. So
still,
if you don't remember, or if you're like Sam and you weren't alive.
I wasn't even a thought yet.
That was the first midterm after Clinton's first election, and it's the midterm after the 1993 famous assault weapons gun gun and magazine ban. So that was a really big one at that time, put the Republicans in control of everything for the first time in I want to say 50 years or something like that. So
except the White House.
But the first time they held both the House and the Senate in 50 years or something. I forget.
So thanks to everybody for voting. I think Missouri, we did our part as Missourians. It's going to be interesting though, because House is Democratic control slightly. Senate, we actually gained some seats. The Republicans.
Yeah, it looks like Tester's going to keep his seat in Montana. So I think right now we're going to end up with probably a gain of 4. So probably end up around either 54 or 55 Senate seats, and then the Dems will have the remainder, except for obviously Bernie Sanders is independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats. So for all essential purposes, he's so.
But we're already getting people speculating and questioning, now what? I'm sure that the House is going to start doing well, we got to get rid of high capacity clips.
Oh, wait. So they banned all guns and Trump's been impeached. They're already on it.
Already?
Already.
What about our new justice?
So
is he being impeached as
Kavanaugh?
well?
Yeah,
Kavanaugh?
I think they deported him. So he's out.
He should have just gone to California.
So-
He's safe in California.
So
They don't deport anybody.
that would be hilarious. Hey, you can't touch
You're
me.
deported. Okay, I'll be in San Francisco. Call me if you need me.
That's hilarious. So,
But I think obviously, I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that there will be attempts by the House to introduce stuff that's aimed at our Second Amendment rights. The good news is, chances of it getting through the Senate and the White House are slim.
yeah,
But,
I just don't see anything significant happening.
But
Either way.
Yeah.
So the hopes of maybe getting HPA revived,
the Hearing Protection Act still not gonna probably get
I
any
don't see
legs.
how, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
so anyway, happy day after Election Day,
And
everybody.
kudos for everybody who voted. And
Yep.
if you came out to shoot, you shot for free.
Yeah, that's right. That was
You
awesome.
voted, so
Who else? Oh, yesterday we did the that free clinic on human trafficking.
Human trafficking.
And we had the FBI actually came out. Who was it that was here? Does anybody remember? His
Sam,
name?
what was the special agent's name?
Am I allowed to say her name?
Yeah, Bottolato.
Bottolato?
Bottolato.
Bottolato.
Bottolato. Okay.
Special Agent
So
Bottolato.
thank you, Special Agent Bottolato. Unless we're not supposed to say your name, then ignore the last part. Really good turnout, lots of questions for that. And
Yep.
you would think it's not something we have to worry about in Missouri. But Sam, where was that sample case from?
Sample case was out of St. Charles Red Roof Inn in 2016.
So St.
Oldest
Charles.
girl was 23, youngest girl was 15.
Yeah.
So it does happen here.
It happens here.
Educate yourself, pay attention. You would think at 21 you wouldn't have to worry about it, but obviously you do. So
Absolutely. But just another example of stuff that we want to participate in because and we didn't make any money off of that. It was something that we did for free. We hosted them. Phil actually did a really great job of setting all that up, but just another example of the fact that our interest is in our community safety.
yeah, those free clinics, people have really liked those. So
And when's our next one, or what's our next one going to be on, Chris? Do we know?
Don't know yet.
We'll have another one next month, so just stay tuned.
We were going
Oh, it's December.
we're going to skip December because
Yeah,
of the
something
holidays.
in January.
Yeah.
Bottom line
I'm
is,
actually talking to an attorney right now. We might do one on this marijuana thing that you guys
okay,
talk about.
and we're going to talk about, so, and that's another thing, we'll get to that and talk about that in a little bit, but, yeah, one of the marijuana, was it one or two of the marijuana bills that passed? Just one?
One.
And so we're going to talk about what that means from a firearm ownership basis here in a little bit, because we've been getting a lot of questions about that. But follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We're always posting stuff on those free clinics, plus all of our other classes. I mean, we've got Two Gun coming up tomorrow, right? Two Gun tomorrow. We've still got some spots available for that. Deer season starts next week, or this
Saturday.
weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah. So if you've got, that old 30-06, you don't know if that scope sighted in, bring it in. We can fix that for you. If you need a new scope or some rings or some ammo, we can do all that. And then, Chris put this. This is how Chris thinks. So it's supposed to snow tonight. Believe it or not, I still don't. It's Missouri. Stick
Supposed to
around.
snow
That'll change.
tonight?
But this weekend, yeah.
This weekend?
Oh, this
Okay.
weekend. So Chris says, make sure that you go out early, because this is how we think. We're always prepared, right? Go out early, get your milk, get your eggs, get your ammo.
Wait a minute. We carry milk and eggs now? I didn't know that. So.
You didn't know this was anywhere in that mini fridge.
Two trips. Okay.
One trip, two stops.
Your one trip, two stops. Yeah. Get your ammo first. And then,
Before you move on, Andy Miller wanted to know
Hey,
if you
Andy.
think the election is going to affect gun sales, good or bad.
My personal opinion is, anytime the government talks about banning anything that has to do with a firearm, it helps the industry. That's my 2 cents. Whether they make any headway or not, you could see a slight bump in inventory levels or availability.
I don't think it's
because
going to
of
be
that. But it will be
super significant
yeah.
because even if the House did pass something, and you have to keep in mind the majority that the Democrats hold in the House right now is not really large. It's pretty slim.
Yep.
And every one of them has to run for re-election again in 2 years. So I just don't know if they're going to pick that. It sort of depends on how strategic they look at everything. But even if they pass something, and even if it's onerous and restrictive, I just don't see it getting through the Senate, and don't see the current president signing it. But you never know. I will tell you that when California the past few years has been going through, it seems like every 6 months they got a new gun law that they've been doing, and it has absolutely driven that market in California to just demand is just still very high because of all of that. So don't know. We'll see. Good news is we'll do our best to keep it here for you if that's the case. So.
Yep. History says if the government starts talking about guns, the more guns get sold. So
Don't wait for that. Buy it now.
that's why, it's like stock. You don't buy stock when it's going up. You buy it when it's down. So speaking of that, we got some stuff on sale, right? We got all of the Magpul stuff's on sale right now, 10% off. And this is another reason to kind of keep track of us on Facebook and Instagram, because we run these flash sales constantly featuring different stuff. We're going to have one coming up on optics. We'll have another one coming up on tactical gear. Black Friday is going to be a lot of fun. You're definitely going to want to be here. You'll hear more about that next week with a few more specifics on what we're going to do there. Got a couple of classes that we still got room in. CCW this Saturday. Still have some open seats there. We still get this question a lot. Well, Missouri doesn't require CCW. I can carry concealed without it. Yes, that is true. But let me ask you this. Do you know when you can and can't produce that firearm? What's going to happen after you pull the trigger on that firearm? Where you can't take that firearm? Because ignorance of the law is not a defense. You still get yourself in trouble. A great example of that is that kid over in Columbia was walking down the street, got his phone stolen, pulled his gun out, shot the kid in the leg as he was running away, and now he's facing manslaughter charges. You got to know that stuff. And
that's what Phil, Dustin, Rob, the guys teach when they're teaching the CCW. A huge part of that is what you can and can't do. Now, there's lots of other gun safety, other stuff involved in that.
How to carry the gun.
You just got to know. So if you're not going to come take a class from us, take it from a reputable place.
Take it somewhere, yep.
Or if you want to go through the trouble of doing your own research, consult your attorney, you need to understand the responsibility that comes with exercising the right of carrying a firearm.
And another great thing to remember, when you do take a class from us, you can retake that class at any time absolutely free. So when the gun laws change, and they will, you can just call us up and say, hey, I took my CCW class from you 2 years ago. I understand the gun laws are changing. I'd like to retake that portion of the class. We'll plug you in. You can come in and sit down. Doesn't cost you a dime.
Absolutely.
So CCW on Saturday, defensive handgun 2 on Sunday. Now the prerequisite for that is defensive handgun 1. But this is where you actually start learning to use that firearm. Draw it from concealment, move and shoot. Who doesn't like to do that stuff? Move and shoot from different positions, clearing malfunctions, shooting offhand, all that cool stuff. And then Girls Just Want to Have Guns is coming up this coming Wednesday. It's Girls Just Want to Have Guns 2, V2, where you're actually going to scoot and shoot, right? They get to do a little bit of that IDPA style shooting. And Veterans Day is Sunday, right? But it's being recognized on Monday. So on Monday, we will have free lanes for all of the veterans out there. And if you are a veteran, I'm curious about this sale on the We the People. Is that just for vets or is that for anybody?
In honor of the vets, everybody.
In honor of the vets, we have that. We should have had that gun in here. We've got a Sig Sauer 1911, 938, and 238. We the People. You can say 15%.
We had them here last week, I think.
Yeah, so look at last week's video.
Very cool guns.
Okay. All right. Anything else that we got going on that we need to cover here in the store? Oh, we got our mob going on this month. That's the sim shoot. The winner of that's going to get a free magnifier from Right On. And all the proceeds if you're not a member, you can still shoot it. It's only $5. All the proceeds are going to.
What's that?
Who are the proceeds going to for our mob?
Responder Rescue.
Responder Rescue. So, and you can shoot it as many times as you want, but we're giving prizes away to like the first 5, 10, 15 people.
Yep.
Hats, t-shirts, optics, holsters, cool stuff. All right.
All right, let's talk about the election again. I know we talked about it a lot already, but so you can go look at it from national level. We can look at it from Missouri level as well. In Missouri, basically, we elected a Republican senator, Josh Hawley, so that's going to help us on the national level. Look at all the local district races and everything. I know that the one I voted for won. So as far as my state rep goes, but
That's how you measure how successful the election was.
but
Hey, kudos to Mark Cox for doing the. Did you see all those judges and everything on there?
oh yeah, yeah.
And all the, so, here, I'm gonna interject, I'm gonna interrupt you. I never do that, right? Kudos to Mark Cox, he put out a little worksheet,
Voter's guide.
a voter's guide, that was awesome. Another thing that I think, and we should have talked about this a week ago, but those judges are extremely important to our future. Because those judges that we got to vote on have been appointed by previous governors. And you really should go in and do the research on those judges and actually vote on them. I think a lot of people just see that and they either skip that, or they just say yes to everybody, or they just say no to
You
everybody.
need to get a voter's guide, look at them ahead of time, and
Yeah,
vote
so
accordingly.
next time, definitely take a look at those judges, because they have a lot of control over how the laws are interpreted and ultimately what that means to all of our freedoms.
So on Mark Cox this morning, they were talking about appointments and so forth. So it's really interesting because Josh Hawley's going to vacate the Attorney General's office. So then the governor will appoint a replacement for him. The governor has also appointed a replacement for lieutenant governor, because he was a lieutenant governor when Greitens resigned, and the governor was assumed the office because Greitens' resignation, so he was not elected. So we're going to be in a position of having a governor, a lieutenant governor, an attorney general,
None of whom were elected.
and potentially, it depends on who replaces him, the attorney general. If that appointment comes from another state office, you could end up with 4 of the big state offices all via appointment or secession, and not via election, which I don't know if that's. I'm sure it's never happened in Missouri before. I can't imagine that
It's the show me state. They're going to show us how it's done, I guess.
But I thought that was interesting. So, side note. All right, so let's talk about marijuana. So, something more interesting.
I'm a joker.
so-
I'm a smoker. I'm no longer.
So I'm going to
a
explain
gun
this.
owner.
I'm going to explain this in as few words as possible. If you smoke marijuana, regardless of any state law, you cannot buy handguns or firearms. Period. You can't shoot here, etc. The ATF has a letter here. It talks about the fact that marijuana is a controlled substance, and if you sell, possess, use, etc., that disqualifies you from purchasing a firearm. So it is literally that simple. It doesn't matter what the state law says. It doesn't matter if it's legal in Missouri. It is not legal federally. So when all this goes into effect, you come in and buy a firearm, do not come in and buy a firearm if you use a marijuana, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how legal it is in the state. I know I just said that. I'm saying it again. You can't have firearms if you're smoking marijuana, period.
So we're going to post this open letter that the ATF, it's already on the Facebook page. You need to read that. I think that all that's happened with the gun laws is there's just a big can of worms that's just now been opened.
Well, this is all going to have to get addressed federally.
Absolutely.
I also want to clarify, if you pull up in our parking lot and get out of your vehicle and the marijuana smoke rolls out of the car,
Don't pull a Spicoli.
you don't need to come in and ask if you can shoot. The answer is already no. And I say this because this has actually happened. Yes, I know it seems silly, but it has happened.
Not only is the answer no, but Baldwin is coming to visit you.
So if I was just about to reference Cheek and Chong, but
No,
I realize that everybody listening to this is under 40 and will have no idea what I'm talking about. So.
Yeah, look up Spicoli too. And
So, Sam's over there on her phone right now. What's he talking about? So.
I wish I.
Jason Brown's comments. He said he doesn't need medical marijuana. He uses Motrin and complaining.
Motrin and complaining. So but I mean, we're getting a lot of questions on that. But so Phil comes in and says, just talked to an attorney, and he says that Missouri passed a law, state law, that says the federal government cannot infringe upon any Missouri gun laws. That's going to get challenged at some point. I don't know. I'm not that smart to figure that out, but I don't know how a state tells the government federal.
Well, the state's
Well,
a
wait a
sovereign
minute.
entity.
California is already doing
So
that.
you have to understand, in our system, states are sovereign entities in and of themselves. They loan power to the federal government. Okay, so that's how our system is set up.
Supposed to work.
But by that same token, we are a licensed FFL. We have to follow federal law. It doesn't matter what Missouri says. Missouri, here's an example. possession of a firearm in Missouri is what age, Phil? 18. You can buy a firearm at what age? A handgun?
Handgun, 21.
Because that is the federal law. Okay, you can buy a long gun at 18. So
You can get your Missouri CCW.
you can get your
at 19.
CCW at 19. You can't come in here and buy a handgun from us at 19 or 20 because that's not what.
You have to be
Or
trained-
ammo
or
for a
handgun
handgun. So it's just, it doesn't matter we have to follow the federal law as well as the state law. We have to follow both. So, and it's this way in any state.
ammo. Well, and here's the other thing, if you have a medical marijuana usage card, let's just use it for example. I have cancer and my doctor gives me a medical marijuana card to help me treat my cancer. I'm now in remission. I still have that medical marijuana card in my wallet. Just having that card on me means that I can't possess firearms or ammunition or purchase firearms.
The question is on the ATF form, and I wish I had it here. I'd read it verbatim. Are you an illegal user? And under
I got it right
federal law, marijuana is still illegal regardless of what the state law says. So if you're a user of or addicted to, then you can't buy a firearm.
So
It's that simple.
Here's the ATF statement. Therefore, any person who uses or is addicted to marijuana, regardless of whether his or her state has passed legislation authorizing marijuana use for medical purposes, is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance, and is prohibited by federal law from possessing firearms and ammunition. Such persons should answer yes to question 11E on Form 4473. And you may not transfer firearms or ammunition to them. Further, if you are aware, this is dealing with us specifically, if you are aware that the potential transferee is in, actually this would even apply to an individual sale. If you are aware that the potential transferee is in possession of a card authorizing the possession and use of marijuana under state law, then you have reasonable cause to believe that the person is an unlawful user of a controlled substance. As such, you may not transfer firearms or ammunition to the person, even if the person answered no to question 11E. And if you falsely answer any of those questions on that form,
That's also a crime.
That's a federal offense.
So to recap, if you
Clear
use
as mud.
marijuana, you can't come buy a gun.
So it's kind of due to the letter.
Yeah, and this was in, September 21st, 2011.
All right, so if you got questions about that, just email us at phil@therangeSTL.com.
I literally just told Jay Corpin that.
So,
Because he asked about that
Yep.
law passed by Missouri about our gun law several years ago. So.
Yep.
all right.
Can of worms.
All right, other new stuff besides the Smith & Wesson TC.
Well,
Precision gun.
we got SHOT Show coming up.
SHOT Show's coming up.
There are
It just occurred to me that everybody in this room is going to SHOT Show except for me.
perfect plan.
Sorry,
The
guys.
problem is that the three of us are sharing a room, so we may not all come back.
Very true. True story.
I'll be sleeping.
Lots of
I'll be
holes in
sleep.
the desert.
I'll be sleeping in the stairwell.
I was gonna be honest,
So-
I don't think.
Here's what we
So
need, though.
if Phil has his little mini folding shovel packed in his pack, when you get on the plane, you might want to be careful.
Remember, I am Italian and I do have family in Vegas. I'm good.
So what you're saying is I'm the one that's screwed?
Pretty much.
It's okay, I got it.
All right. So speaking of that, though, there's all kinds of cool stuff coming out. This is where you get an opportunity to tell us who you want us to go see while we're at SHOT Show. Get some video, asking some questions about the new toys that they're coming out with, any of that stuff. If you've got questions for the ATF, we can ask them there. If you want to talk about the new FN, what do they call that, the 20A or 20S, their new precision rifle that they just announced, we can go get some video on that. We had the
Century Arms.
Century guy was in today. What did you think about that Koenig?
I was
Janik. Janik, I don't
I was
know.
impressed.
They got a brand new pistol that they're doing in conjunction with Salient.
Yep, the TP9 Elite Combat. The whole it was impressive.
It was
to,
awesome.
to see where that gun's gone from 3 years ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago. I commend them for continuing to put the time and effort and resources into R&D, and it's got a tremendous
Big upside on that gun.
reset on the trigger. It's just
Super, super gun. He also brought in, they have a C39 V2 pistol, AK
pistol.
pistol. that comes with a brace now from the factory.
Shockwave brace,
Shockwave
yep.
brace. But you can put any tube on that you want. So you could put the SB2s, 3s, any of those braces on it. It's
So
friggin'
could
cool
you SBR it and put a regular stock on it?
if you file the
You swap
paperwork.
out the tube, yeah.
If you file the paperwork.
So
you can.
basically it uses AR
10.5
tubes.
inch barrel. It's a B. Yeah, it's on my Christmas list, along with everything else that we look at in here.
So I only want one thing from you for Christmas. And that's an FN20S Precision.
That's like a $4,000 rifle.
Yes, it is. So it's a nice
Hey,
rifle.
That's nice and long, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, you can be belated. They'll have them at SHOT Show. Just pick one up when you're there. So
Okay. See how fast I can run.
yeah.
Carry one of those. CMMG they've had this rip brace, or not, it's not a brace, it's a rip stock out for a little while now. They just introduced that rip brace for the AR pistol and AK pistol platform. And if you haven't seen it, you need to check out the videos online. Maybe we should stick one on our Facebook page. But it's basically, and they make it in a mini too, it's just unbelievable. So it's a pistol brace for an AR pistol. And you just basically grab the butt plate of the stock and rip it out, and it comes right out to length and holds.
Brace.
And it's a brace.
There's a stock
I'm
version and
sorry.
a
They
brace
do a
version.
stock version for rifles, but they do a brace version for pistols. So you just rip that thing out, and I'm gonna have to have a couple of those.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just kind of an example. So keep your eyes on what's going on out there. If there's something you want us to take a look at, let us know.
I'm sorry?
Dave from Proper said they got new stuff coming out too, so.
Yeah, we'll definitely go to the Proper booth and see those guys. Love Proper.
Tell him to give me my jacket.
All right. What else we
Dave, Sam says, get her jacket. It's going to get cold.
got?
All right. And I think that about wraps it up, man.
I'm going to get video of Sam's first impression walking onto the casino floor.
I've never flown either. You guys are
Oh, we'll have to get some video of her
I've
on-
never been
yeah.
to Vegas. I've never been to a casino.
My gosh.
Never been to SHOT, obviously. We're screwed. It's gonna be like when you took video of me shooting full auto for the first time.
We're gonna have to figure out who's babysitting her all week.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Not it. Nose goes. Phil.
Chris already said I could put a D-ring on the back of his belt loop so he didn't lose me. in
That's
the
a great
crowd.
idea. We need to get one of those child
Like,
harnesses and put it on
That
her.
would be nice.
Pull her away from the Daniel Defense booth. Come
I
on,
was
Sam,
thinking
we
more
gotta
one
go.
of those shock devices when they wander too far.
Nelly.
You know.
All of the above.
Shocks me unless she wanders too.
No, he shocks her if she wanders too far away.
Yeah, she'll go into the SIG arena and get lost in their 2-level, all the toys.
Two levels?
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
Lord.
yeah. So,
There's
that'll be
levels?
good. But let us know what we can dig up for you guys. And yeah, stay tuned because we'll be doing some live stuff from SHOT. That's January 20th through the 25th. So
Solid 6 days.
And we're done because I'm out of coffee.
you're out of coffee?
So we're done.
All right.
All right. You got a rant?
Yeah, what the heck is up with
not
all the
coffee.
Christmas stuff already in the stores?
I don't know.
I'm pissed.
It's like a
It was
week
out
or
there
two
before
ago.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Good night.
will
Can
not
I
have
just
it in the rain.
can I enjoy what I'm doing now instead of
I had some lady
worrying?
at Target try to upsell me Christmas lights. I was like, I'm buying ice cube trays. What are you doing?
We
Well,
went.
at this point, they're starting to bring out the Christmas stuff for next year. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, we went to a hardware store yesterday to get filters for the furnace. And I walk in the door and there's Christmas trees up and
Yep.
there's Christmas lights up, and I'm like, wait a minute.
that used to happen the week after Thanksgiving, but apparently not anymore.
So anyway, that's what pisses me off today. Check back with me in an hour.
All right, so hero for this week, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Ben Seedorf, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but over on the other side of the state, on the KC side, he was in his home and heard this blood-curdling scream, grabbed his gun, went outside, and a woman's being attacked by a man in a car there on the street. Her 3 kids are in the car. He basically held him at gunpoint until he stopped the assault, held him at gunpoint until KCPD showed up and took him into custody. He's being charged. She knew the man. She was dropping him off somewhere, and apparently there was a disagreement that ended in violence. Don't have all those details,
real
but
man, isn't
it's
it?
Good Samaritan taking the
He's-
opportunity to help someone else who
For him.
couldn't help themselves. You don't know what was going to happen because apparently she was already missing articles of clothing from the
Good
attack.
grief.
So good on Ben Seedorf, all those men and women who rushed towards the sound of screams and gunfire and calls for help. So good job, Ben. That's
Anything else? Any questions, comments?
1, 2, 3, sold. All right, so that's going to do it. If you got anything for us, email us at phil@therange@therange.stl.com. 14803 Manchester Road, 636-220-1300. We'll see you next week.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm not.
Thanks, everyone.